Hello and welcome back to Urban World News. This is Roy Evans. I am here with licensed clinician, Miss Guileine Kraft. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm great, Roy. How are you?
I am great. And see, the thing is, I kind of paused in that just to make sure that none of you knew. But I'll tell you anyways, I have been butchering her name, and I wanted to make sure that I said it correctly. So I was doing that as we get into it. Of course, we are continuing the conversation as it is referenced to the coronavirus and a lot of the things that are going on. Of course, we had the conversation with Dr. Newman previously, and now we're here with Ms. Kraft, and she is also, let's start off saying, a Rattler, as well as a proud member of the Marching 100. And so what I'm going to do is let her tell us a little bit about herself before we get into the conversation.
Well, as you said, Roy, I'm a fellow Rattler. I bleed orange and green and a proud member of the Florida A&M University Marching 100. I am a licensed social worker. I've been practicing social work since I was at FAMU and have done anything from therapy from 3 to 64-year-olds, as well as working in outpatient mental health clinics, therapeutic foster care, and I'm also captain in the Maryland Army National Guard, working as a behavioral health officer.
Well, again, with that, then we all would like to say thank you for your service to this.
Thank you for your support.
This country of ours. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about some of the things that you think. Let's start off with some of the things that you think are important. Now, you and I have had some conversations, and one of the things that we've talked about is that this pandemic is resetting the way that we all do things and the way that things are happening. Give us a little bit about your assessment of what's actually happening with people during this process.
My experience, both in terms of the people that I interact with on a regular basis and understanding just because of my training and practice, is that folks are really on high anxiety. We're on high anxiety because, as you said, Roy, we're resetting. We're having to adjust our daily lives based on what's currently going on. So a lot of us in many states are confined to our homes or are being asked to self-quarantine in our homes, not because we're necessarily infected or that we're experiencing any illnesses of any sort, but because we're trying to protect ourselves and prevent the coronavirus from being spread to more and more people. I believe, as Dr. Newman shared earlier, there are about 44,000 or more than 44,000 people currently infected. We want to hold that down. And so by virtue of asking folks to stay in their homes, to telework, kids are homeschooling, people are not accustomed to being in their homes so much, and they're not accustomed to really being around their families so much. So it's causing getting to know your family members all over again, getting to know yourself all over again. And a lot of what I've been experiencing and having conversations with other clinicians are about anxiety, not understanding what they're supposed to do in their homes for this many hours. And a lot of people are not accustomed to being at home for so long, but also not knowing what's coming next, what's happening, how things are going. The media is providing a whole lot of information. A lot of it feels like misinformation. A lot of it feels like, we're not quite sure which one to believe or how long this is going to go on. So part of it is the here and now, being confined to your homes and maybe getting cabin fever, as a lot of people refer to it, but also not knowing how long this is going to happen. Right now, the current predictions are that this will go on through maybe the first, maybe the second week of April. Others are saying through May and maybe beyond that. So part of it is adjusting your regular life as you've known it, and also not knowing where the end is going to happen and the uncertainty of what comes next.
Yeah, that whole thing with the release date, so to speak, is very interesting right now. Of course, the POTUS, President of the United States, Mr. Trump, was saying he's hoping to have everybody up and moving around by Easter, the second week in April. And pretty much most physicians that I talked to, including Dr. Newman, was like, yeah, that's probably not going to be a good idea. So, let's talk about the impact of that. What you just said, you actually just mentioned it. There's so many different things that are coming out about when this is going to be over, how this is, how long we're going to be in. How do you think that has an impact on how people are able to actually process? Because I don't even know if we can say that people are dealing with this yet, because we still haven't been able to process any viable information to know when this thing is going to be over.
I think by and large, folks are operating off of high emotion, and the high emotion by and large, I think, is manifesting in the form of anxiety, as I said, but also could be manifesting in the form of sleeping too much, not sleeping enough, depression for those who may already be susceptible to depression. And so it's showing up in ways that you may not have otherwise experienced before, or you haven't seen in your loved ones that you're now seeing more frequently than you were seeing before. And so I think it's manifesting itself into, you know, people feeling helpless, people feeling isolated, people feeling disconnected. Human beings need interaction with other human beings. Human beings need physical touch and being able to see each other and feel each other and laugh and things of that nature. And so when you don't have that, that affects your mood, which again is anxiety, is depression, is feeling down, which could cause you to also feel like you want to sleep too much, or if you're concerned and you're worried, then you might not be sleeping as much because you have a lot of what's on your mind. Some of this is caused by the media, caused by the information that's being put out, because pretty much anytime you turn on a news station, whether it's television, radio, or internet, most of what you're hearing about is the coronavirus, whether it's here in the United States or in other countries. And that's just a lot of information and it's overload. And so part of what clinicians are suggesting is that you don't overload. Try to limit the amount of news that you're getting and limit it to the sources that you really do trust. You know, whether that's Fox News or MSNBC or Urban News here, limit your news intake to that which you trust and really try to limit it to nothing more than maybe 10 or 15 minutes a day. By and large, you're not getting new information throughout the course of the day. So there's no reason to consistently be watching the news throughout the course of the day. And the adverse impact that that's having on your emotions and your mood is not worth it to get the 3 minutes or the 3 millibytes of information that you're getting that you would be getting the next day anyway. By and large, as Dr. Newman said, the best thing that you can do for yourself and for your family right now is to wash your hands and stay out of the public. Stay at home. Don't allow yourself to be exposed. And if for some reason you're asymptomatic and don't know it, don't expose other people to the virus that you're carrying. And so we want to make sure that we're medically being responsible, but also in terms of behavioral health and your mental health, that you're being responsible in terms of taking care of yourself, engaging in self-care. Self-care, everything that we're doing right now, for most of us, has to be reconceptualized. There are some who are accustomed to working from home, and so they're not having to adjust as much perhaps as some other folks, but there's still some adjustment for those who are accustomed to working from home. That adjustment is maybe you're not accustomed to having other people around you while you're working from home. And so you've got to make adjustments there. Or if you're not accustomed to working from home, then you've got to make adjustments to not only figure out how to work from home successfully, productively, to meet your expectations, your benchmarks, what have you, but also adjusting to being able to be productive. Some people don't do well from home because they don't do well without having that rest of the environment of the workplace around them. You also have the kids who are homeschooling. Some parents, I've been hearing clients of mine say to me, you know, now I understand why my kid is always getting in trouble at school. I didn't realize it before. I didn't understand it before. Well, now that kids are being homeschooled, you're doing assignments at home, then you have to also adjust to what's going on with them and their anxieties. And so if you live alone, then you only have you to deal with, and it can be different than if somebody has a significant other, a spouse, children, grandparents, other folks in the home. We're having to adjust everything that's going on in our lives, even meals. I know someone was sharing with me earlier today, there's a whole bunch of stuff on social media about folks who don't know how to cook. And so they're figuring it out, how to eat, how to make sure that they're getting the necessary substance and nutrients so that they're not running around hungry, which will affect your mood. And so we're adjusting everything that we do, from, you know, what do I do with my commute time, to how do I take care of myself, to how do I eat, and when do I get my work done because my kid needs me to help him with his math problems, or my kid, you know, is bouncing off the walls because he doesn't have enough to keep him occupied. Everything that we're doing right now is adjusting, and all of the stuff that's happening on the outside is happening on the inside of you as well. And so it's affecting your mood, it's affecting how you're thinking, how you're sleeping, how everything is going on. So you've got to adjust to all of those things that are going on outside of your home as well as inside of your home, and then within your psyche as well.
Okay. Wow. So let's talk about something. You mentioned self-care. let's think about some of those things, and I guess I will be the semi-patient at this point. Now, I am actually one of these who I am an introvert by nature. I am usually in my own space doing stuff. So the quarantine for me, I was telling a friend, it's like literally my life hasn't changed any because I am accustomed to this, all except for one thing. Besides being an introvert like that, I am still also, as I like to say, an anal retentive Virgo at times. And I like to be able to move when I want to. And now I can't. I can't just go somewhere that I normally would want to go to if I just wanted to spend some time in a different space. How do you recommend, or some of the ways that, we'll start with the introverts first because that list should be shorter. How do we deal with that? What are some of the recommendations that you have for, say, an introverted person to deal with some of the things that are going on right now?
So some of that has to do with a couple of things. One of them is, in some respects, and I appreciate your comment, that for introverted folks, it may seem easier. In some respects, again, it is easier, and in other respects, it's not easier because you still like to get out. It just means that you don't necessarily like to interact with other people. Being introverted doesn't mean that you necessarily like to be at home. Being introverted just means that you don't necessarily interact with other people as overtly or as comfortably as perhaps an extrovert might interact with other people. So there's still the need to get out. There's still the need to get fresh air, to get direct sunlight. So for introverts, I would say do those things that you know bring you calm, bring you relaxation, whether it's binge watching your favorite show or reading your favorite book. You can't necessarily get to the library, but maybe you can do audio books, or you can do electronic books through your local library if you have a library card, or Kindle or something to that effect. And so doing the things that you know work is the big thing for everybody, but even for introverts, doing those things that you know that work, reading, binge watching, television shows, movies, emailing, whatever the case may be, but also making sure that you're still getting outdoors. Now, I'm not necessarily saying you're going to a bar, you're going to a movie, obviously, but if you have a patio, if you have a balcony, if you have a backyard, that you get outside and at least sit outside and breathe in fresh air and let some direct sunlight hit you for a minimum of 15 minutes a day, so that you're getting the benefits of the direct sunlight. A lot of folks don't realize, and as you ask me about the different kinds of people, if you will, I'm going to keep saying go outside, take a walk, get sunlight, because so many of us don't understand the necessity for direct sunlight, the necessity for that direct vitamin D, beyond any supplements that you might be taking. Supplements are fine, but your body needs vitamin D in order to stabilize your moods. And so it is absolutely necessary that during this time, we still get outside, on a balcony, on a patio, on a deck, go and take a walk to get that direct vitamin D to help stabilize your moods, which will help keep you from feeling so anxious. It'll help you from feeling depressed or sad, and it'll even help you to sleep. And so for those introverts who can't just go outside or go to a bar or movie, as I said, as they normally would, go outside and take your book out there with you, or take some music out there with you if you're a music head. I know, Roy, you're a music head, so take some music outside with you and enjoy that, or play some music in your house and just dance like nobody's watching and nobody cares. Doing small things like that are helpful. Watching even YouTube clips or short clips of a comedy, something that's going to make you laugh, is incredibly important, because laughter, research shows, improves your mood and can help your overall well-being. So doing those little things. Yeah, I think that probably is the best things for the introverts, we'll call them.
Yeah. Okay, well, great. And I'm going to take that advice. I'm going to get out because, like I said, I'm used to being at home alone, doing whatever it is that I want to do. So, yeah, I do want to get out. I actually had started at one point getting out on my porch for actually twice a day. I was doing it for at least 30 minutes, where I was either listening to music or just flipping through some different stuff, but sitting on the porch and, like you said, soaking up some fresh air and things of that nature. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on, because right now, of course, we're on a lot of the social media, and we see our friends posting the things like saying, hey, introverts, check on your extroverted friends. We are not okay. You know, people who are used to being able to get out and get to be around people. What are some of the suggestions that you have for those folks?
For the extroverts, I would say do things that I would say for families as well, but doing things to get connected with people. And so some of it is emailing, some of it is texting, some of it is social media-ing, if I can say it that way. But more to the point, call people, make phone calls, and even better than making phone calls is video chatting, where you can actually see each other. You can't reach out and touch, you can't hug, you can't slap somebody on their leg or on their back, but if you can see them, you can see their face, you can see their facial expressions, you can see them laughing. I know I was video chatting with a family member recently, and they were in a bathrobe, and I couldn't figure out why the heck they were in a bathrobe. I was like, why the hell are you in a bathrobe at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Like, haven't you taken a shower yet? But that allowed us to have some laughter. That allowed us to have a connection that is an advanced connection from emailing, texting, or social media, and even an advanced connection from being on the phone, on a phone call together. So for those extroverts, get out and do the social media. Still get on the balcony, get your vitamin D, take a book out there, maybe do some gardening, but reach out and do some video chatting as well. I mean, there are plenty of apps, there are plenty of services that you can use. Platforms is the word I was looking for. Platforms that you can use to do some of that video chatting. And sometimes it'll be planned. Sometimes, you know, you'll schedule, if you wanted to do it with more than a couple of people, you'll have to schedule it out. And sometimes it should just be spontaneous. You were thinking about somebody, you know, you wanted to reach out to somebody, and if they crossed your mind, reach out to them in any form. And then if you have a video chatting connection to them, then go ahead and video chat them. You know, it's not about coronavirus, but it's still about something that affects us. When I was deployed a couple years ago in Kuwait and Iraq, my brother and I video chatted no less than 4 to 6 times a week. And that really helped me to still feel connected to the family. And it helped him, who was stateside, feel connected to me and know that I was okay. So it helped to keep his anxiety down about what was going on with me. We're going through some of those same times now. Video chatting, I've been video chatting with family members for several days now. That allows us to still feel connected and help keep our anxiety down, because again, the laughter, and it's about nothing. We're not talking about coronavirus for sure. We're not talking about anything real necessarily. We're just chatting. But being able to see each other and have that connection is helping to stabilize our mood and helping to keep us more even keel, and also feel, again, that connection to each other, so that, you know, it helps to lessen the need to go outside and go to bars or go to the movies or go interact with other people.
Oh, okay, great. Well, yeah, that's a good idea. So, you know, that's something I think I need to do. I get my little munchkins, my kids and stuff on the phone, do it with my sisters and my mom. I've actually been talking to my mom. I try to call her at least every other day to make sure she's doing fine and getting stuff going. So, you know, this is part of the situation that in this development, or as this develops and we get more, you know, what are some of the, well, actually, let me change this question. What would you say a trigger? Because like I said, I really believe that they're going to push this thing out till the end of May. Most places, I think we've already had 3 states that have canceled school for the rest of the year. And when I say school, I'm talking about from kindergarten K through 12. So your children are going to be home. I know in Virginia they've done it, and I forget what the other 2 states are. You know, those types of things and the extension of this stay-at-home request that they're asking is going to trigger emotions in people. Yeah. How do you, or what do you say for us to be able to possibly prepare for some of those triggers, or is there a way for people to prepare for those triggers?
In some respects, there is a way to prepare for the triggers, and some respect you have to wait to see what it is that is triggered. So a couple of things that you mentioned in there. One of them was the triggers themselves emotions in people in general. And by people, I mean whether they're adults or children. Some of it is doing some of the things that we're talking about, being proactive and starting to put into place now, because we're still fairly at the beginning of this. So starting to put some things in place now in terms of video chatting, reaching out to family and friends so that you're already connected. So when you want to reach out to somebody, you already are on the same platform. You already both have the app. You already are both signed into whatever, so they can just make a phone call as though we would make a regular phone call. Some of it is, keeping in mind or having a list, even writing it out, some of the things that you can do so that when you need to do something, you don't have to think about it. You just have to refer to your list. So literally writing down, go sit outside for 15 minutes, watch a comedy that's a movie, binge watch my favorite show, gardening, reading a book, literally writing down some of the things that you can do, excuse me, that are helpful for you, so that when you're feeling at your most anxious or at your most down and depressed, you don't have to think, you can just refer to your list. Another part of it is when you start seeing some of those symptoms in somebody, when somebody's sleeping a lot or not sleeping very much, when you start seeing somebody who's agitated on an ongoing basis, or who is just overly worrying, hey, check on them. Are you watching too much news? Or what is it exactly that you're feeling, and why are you feeling that? Just give somebody an opportunity to talk about what they're feeling, what they're experiencing. And then also, if you feel like there's a need for it, know that there are a number of companies that are open and available, including VuTech, open and available to doing virtual therapy. And sometimes you may need to consider getting involved into virtual therapy so that a professional can be available to you to have those conversations and to help work you through that challenge. There are virtual therapy options for kids as well, any age through the more mature part of our society. And so looking out for those options, there are a number of them online. If you just go online and do a search on virtual therapy, you'll find any number of virtual therapy options for you. And that looks anything from messaging back and forth on a message board that's of course HIPAA compliant and confidential, or doing phone chats or video chats or instant messaging so that you can have those conversations. I've got clients now that I see and that I check in on a regular basis through virtual therapy that are feeling some of the anxieties, and we're having the conversations similar to the conversation that we're having here. What are the things that work for you? What are the things that you like to do? What are your concerns? And so we'll talk through those concerns and, kind of help work through whether or not they're realistic concerns. Whether they're realistic or not, they're real because you're feeling them, but we want them and try to lessen them as much as we can. Continuing to do exercise. If you see somebody who seems like they're uptight, we tend to see this more in men than we do in women, but we see it in women as well. If you seem like you're uptight, if you seem like you need a release, often is what we'll call it, or if you're feeling high stress, going for a walk is great for stress, doing things like gardening, reading a book, listening to music, but exercising. It is very, very important for all of us to be getting regular, and in many cases, daily exercise, certainly at least 4 to 6 days a week, that you're going out and you're doing whatever you do. I know, Roy, you're a runner. You like to do 5+ miles of running when you get a chance to. I'm not doing 5 miles of running, but I do have my workout routine that I'm doing on a regular basis. I can't go to the gym. Obviously, my gym is closed and I wouldn't be going to the gym anyway, but I can go to YouTube and do some YouTube videos of exercises that are available for me for free on YouTube videos. Or there may be some gyms that are making workouts available through social media outlets, or there are probably workouts available for purchase as well. So doing exercising, because that also helps to stabilize your moods and your emotions, because it's helping you to release the stress that you're feeling, but it also helps to release endorphins in your body that affect you in terms of your mood and what you're feeling, and lessens the symptoms that others can see on the outside. And with kids, the same is all true with kids. Kids have anxiety. Kids are hearing what's going on, and you should be having conversations with your kids if you're not already doing so, and having ongoing conversations with your kids about what's going on. Of course, it needs to be age appropriate, but you want to make sure you're giving your kids an opportunity to share with you what their thoughts are, what their concerns are, what they understand about what's going on, and you want to correct anything that they may know or believe that's untrue, or they need to have the opportunity to tell you, Mom, I'm scared. Dad, I'm not quite sure what's going on. I'm feeling anxiety. What's going to happen? Am I ever going to go back to school again? Kids have very real concerns as well. Stress happens in everybody, irrespective of age, and it's all relative. And so you don't want to shut your kids down and have them bottle up that stress, that anxiety, those emotions, because it will show up in other ways later. And it'll show up in temper tantrums. It'll show up in high energy. It'll show up in developing anxiety disorders and depression and things of that. So we want to make sure we're attending to what's going on with our kids as well. They need physical activity. They need direct sunlight. So if you're going out and doing stuff, you know, if you have a backyard, a deck, again, or what have you, build in time into the day so that they have the opportunity to get that direct sunlight and to get that energy out and to get their endorphins going. Kids also will helping to stabilize the mood and the symptoms in kids has to do with keeping them on a schedule. Their schedule is all thrown off, just like us as adults, our schedules are all thrown off. So we want to work on getting them onto a schedule. And that means literally creating a schedule for their workday. Their workday is their school day. So the way that several different ways that can happen is literally a calendar, and it can be weekly, it can be daily, it can be a couple times a week, whatever works for your family. Create a calendar for what hours are they going to be working on their assignments, and not just what hours, but what assignments specifically, what subject, what tasks, what specifically are they going to be working on throughout the day. Their school day, if you will, during this homeschooling time may not be an 8:30 to 3 o'clock school day. It may be from 8 to 9:30. They're working on their math assignments, and then from 9:30 to 10:30, you know, they're working on a crafting assignment, or they're going outside and doing some jumping jacks or some gardening. And then from 10:30 until 12, they're working on their reading assignment. Their school day may look different. You may break it up a little bit so that you're getting them active and you're getting their endorphins going, but keeping them on a schedule as well will help them to keep their anxiety down, and it'll help keep some order in the household, and it'll give you an opportunity to build in your work time. So you build their school schedule around your work time. If you've got meetings, if you have a certain period of time of the day when you need to respond to emails, you can build their school time around your work time so that everybody's needs are getting met. You also want to make sure for kids, excuse me, that kids are getting parent time. It is important for kids to get parent time, whether it's you're reading with them or you're watching a movie with them. It's important for kids to get time alone with however many parents they're living with in the household. They need to have an opportunity to just be regular kids with their parents, ask questions, and feel that connection with their parents. And as a household, that you're still doing things as a family, watching a movie together, having game nights, playing board games, playing video games, whatever happens in your household, that you're still making sure that you have time built into each week for those regular opportunities, and you're still doing the family bonding. You're getting to know people a little bit differently now, perhaps because you're spending more time with them, but you still want to make sure that you're getting to know them and you're giving everybody the necessary time. Kids also still need alone time, still need an opportunity to just be by themselves and do their own meditating, reading, listening to music, whatever it is that your kid is interested in. Kids still need to have an opportunity for that alone time, just like adults need adult alone time, so that you can come back to center and recalibrate yourself, because it's all necessary for all of us to recalibrate ourselves. And so keeping organized, getting on a calendar, getting on a regular schedule with your significant other, with your kids, helping to keep the whole household on an even keel calendar and a schedule will really help to keep things in order. Because remember, this is a time when we're feeling very anxious and we're feeling very uncertain. If you can create that certainty within your household, you can help to lessen the experiences of anxiety and depression that may be coming up anyway.
All right, so let's do something first. Full disclosure, yes, I was not running 8 miles today. I was on my bike. So I'm going to clarify that just so that you know. No, I am not really a runner. I actually, although I was a trainer for a while, well, the springtime is here, so this is the time to get back out and start exercising out in the elements. But yeah, I don't do the elements well, so. But let's do this before we get ready to this has been some great information. why don't you tell the folks a little bit about your company and what you guys do, and if they need to get in touch, how they can get in touch with you?
Certainly. VuTech is currently an entirely virtual company where we have the ability to do virtual therapy, as I mentioned earlier, and also virtual life coaching. And so the life coaching aspect of it is a little bit different from the therapy in that we're not actually doing therapy with you. We're helping you work towards some specific goals that you have. For example, right now we have a couple of what we call Money Matters life coaching clients, and that's folks that are specifically working on their financial behavior. We're not consultants, we're not accountants, but we can help you with the behavioral part of what's going on with your finances. And so VuTech offers you that entirely virtually, so it doesn't matter where in the world, but in the country you live. And so we can do some life coaching and we can do some virtual therapy for folks. We're a fairly new company, and so we're growing into doing more kinds of things. And so we're growing into doing some online tutoring and also small business coaching and working with kids towards getting them into college and university, helping them to successfully matriculate through high school and then getting into the college that is the best college for them and hopefully get them some financial support into college. That's what we're doing right now. We hope to grow beyond that, but that's our focus for right now. Getting in touch with VuTech for now can happen via email through therapy@vutech.world. It's THERAPY at VuTech, VUTECH.world, or our business line, which is area code 443-216-9683. Again, that's 443-216-9683.
And all that information actually will be showing up on the screen as of right now, as people are listening to it, when we go back and put that information in. So again, Ms. Kraft, I want to thank you so much for all of your time. And folks, remember, get out there. One, check on your friends, check on your family members, find ways to continue to engage with people and be interactive while practicing the social distancing, so that we can help move this thing around and get some stuff going. So I'll give you the last word before we get out of here. If there's anything else that you'd like to say to folks before we get out.
I'll just say again, making sure that you're doing things to keep those connections with other folks. If I recall correctly, you and I are planning on doing this on an ongoing basis, and we're going to give people an opportunity to ask some questions today, but also ask some questions ongoing in future weeks as we continue to have this dialogue. And so we just want to make sure that we just keep reminding people the importance of doing what you can to be connected, getting guided, moving around, getting those endorphins going, getting some physical activity, getting the direct sunlight, breathing in the fresh air, and know that in all things and in everything, this too will get on the other side of this. This too shall pass. We will get on the other side of this. It may take a little bit of time, but we can get through this, and we can get through this together.
All right. Well, there it is. And as I said, those are the last words. So thank you again. You guys have a great day. We'll be back with more right here on Urban World News. Q Time is a classic Atlanta soul food restaurant located in the historic West End. Q Time Soul Food is a family business started by Fred and Christine Crenshaw. Come on in, relax, and sink your chops into our tantalizing, mouth-watering, distinctive soul food with a twist, the Q Time way. 1120 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard, or call your order in at 404-758-2881. Do you miss your mama's cooking? Then come on down to Q Time, an Urban Passport member.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Majesty is a premium health and wellness tea line focused on bringing delicious yet healthy tea blends to the community. Filled with an abundance of vitamins and antioxidants, we work to blend teas with exotic spices and fruits to produce scrumptious and wholesome beverages. So check us out at mymajesties.com. That's MyMajesties.com. My Majesties, an Urban Passport member.
Let's face it, Shopping for insurance can be time-consuming. That's why when it comes to your auto, home, and life insurance needs, make things simple and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your life, home, and auto policies. Bundling saves you money, sure, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact me, Tammy Haynes, your local agent, for a free personalized insurance quote. Allstate, are you in good hands?
Q time is our class.